Hello GGS 300 and welcome to what is essentially going to be an introductory lecture for GGS 300, which is Quantitative Methods for Spatial Science. So today I'm going to give you a bit of a syllabus overview and a little bit of an introductory background to the course policies which I expect to be in place as we run through this class over the next 2 or 3 months. Okay. So the aim of this video is to basically provide you with all of that information that you need in order to actually succeed on this particular class. And what I'd like you to do as well is to also look at the syllabus PDF document, which should be available now on Blackboard for you to access, download, and take a look at. So you basically need to read that, and you need to be able to actually watch this video in full, and it just gives you an overview of how the actual course is going to be run, what I expect from you, and what I expect you to expect of me. Okay. Great, so who am I? Well, I'm Edward Orton. You can call me Professor Orton or Ed or Edward, I really don't mind. Essentially, because of COVID, there's been one or two roadblocks to me actually arriving on campus at GMU, unfortunately. So I'm still in Cambridge, UK for the time being, but I will be moving out onto campus at the end of September. So hopefully I'll be around for face-to-face meetings from then on in. But until that time, this is going to be an async class. So this is going to be recorded lectures. You can reach out to me obviously by email, and I'll give you more information on that later in this introductory lecture. But essentially, I live with my wife in Cambridge currently. We're moving out to Fairfax, Virginia, and I just thought I'd show you a few pictures of my beautiful black Labrador George, because I will be that crazy academic who talks about their dog all the time. Okay, so you can usually find me walking in the countryside with my dog and my wife. So as I mentioned before, this is going to be 100% async remote learning. So that will be both for the lectures and also for the practicals that you're going to have, but you'll have all of the materials that you need in order to succeed on this course provided for you. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you're all going to do amazingly on this course. You're going to put in lots of hard work, and we're going to get you up skills so that you can go out into the world and basically make the world a better place. Hopefully when you go off and you fly from GMU and you go into industry or government. So the prerequisites for this course, essentially it's 30 credits, and this would include GGS 102 and 103. So if you don't have either of those courses, then please reach out to me for permission. Generally, that's fine. We would like everybody to have kind of that basic standard before they start hitting some of the quant courses. But in the past, I have let other people do this module before without having these prerequisites. So really, it's just evaluated on a case-by-case basis. Okay. Textbooks, there's only one, but you do need to buy it, I'm afraid. So this is the textbook here. It's called An Introduction to Statistical Problem Solving in Geography by McGrew et al. It's the 2014 third edition. So you really need to make sure that you get the right edition, please. 2014, you've got the full citation just here so that you know exactly which book it is. You can either buy it from the GMU bookstore, or you can probably get an online copy. Just make sure you get the right edition and the right year, please, so that we don't have any hiccups with page numberings and chapters, because I'm going to give you that information all for this specific edition of the book. Okay. So go out and get the book. We will be using it. It will form a core part of the syllabus, and you'll be able to see that when you look over the weekly schedule that we have, because we have those lectures and those laboratory sessions, and then the affiliated chapters within McGrew et al. Are there for you to read, understand the material, digest it, perform well on the assignments that I'm going to set you week by week. Okay. I still need to confirm 100% that Amy Rose Tawani is going to be our TA, but I'm pretty sure she is this term, so I just wanted to provide you with her information. I'll follow up if that changes, but I'll be adding her to the Blackboard, and she'll be in charge of marking the assignments and lending you guys any help if you're stuck on anything. But feel free to reach out to me if you need me for any particular problems that you might have, and I'll endeavour to answer those issues as soon as possible. So what exactly is the objective of the course? Well, actually, there's multiple, okay? So I want you guys to be able to learn how to actually conduct statistical analysis in a rigorous way, and that's both of the data and the information that you will use, but also then how you kind of understand that and portray it. And I want you to do that using kind of the industry standard statistical software, and there's quite a few different types. But here in this class, we're going to be focusing on the R statistical language that some of you may have heard of before. So if you're coming in from more of a kind of data science background, then you'll probably be quite familiar with R and RStudio that we'll be using. If you're coming in from some other background, that's perfectly fine. You will have all of the introductory materials that you need in order to be able to understand how to use this software, and it's incredibly powerful once you know how to do it, and it will provide you with significantly improved job prospects should you be able to master some of the skills that I'm going to teach you on this course, okay? So the second objective is to actually learn how to interpret those statistical analyses that I expect you to carry out in spatial science and how that relates to the broader scientific literature. So I think the key thing is, getting the data, crunching the data, learning how to then interpret the output statistics, and they're kind of the standard things that you would expect if you were going to go and do a statistical course. But then really I think this third objective that I just want to bring together here is the critical part. And I use the word critical specifically here because I want you to think critically about how we are using statistics and the potential misuse of statistics, which is incredibly frequent, okay? So the way that statistics usually works is that you take some information about the world, so you get some data, you go and collect some data, and then basically you're going to fit some sort of formalized statistical model, which very often is some sort of algebraic equation, for example, and then you're going to fit that to the data, and you're going to see how well that fits the data, and then you're going to have some sort of error term, and you'll be able to collect those and basically interpret the outputs. But I think the important point is that it's garbage in, garbage out. Okay, so you may have heard of that before, Gabo. Essentially, that means that if your input data is badly collected, or you have very poor statistical design in that data that you're collecting, and then you're putting it into a statistical framework where you don't meet the assumptions for that statistical test, which is very probable because there are certain assumptions, as I will explain in the course, that need to be met in order for the results to be valid, then essentially what you're doing is just producing junk analysis, okay? So it's garbage in, garbage out. So I need you ideally to think critically about how we use these statistical approaches and how certain statistics could be misinterpreted or misportrayed within the realm of scientific evidence that we want to be producing information for, okay? So they're the three objectives that we're going to actually be aiming for. There's an important point here, and that's, well, what do you actually want to get out of this class? And obviously, if we were all in the same room, then it'd be much easier for me to say to you, well, what would you like? You can't tell me right now. So I'm just going to, assume that you would like to do things that are fun. You don't want a boring lecturer, that's for sure. And you want to make sure that what you're learning is going to really improve your life experience, your job chances, whatever it is that you want to do when you fly GMU campus and you go off into the world and essentially get a job. Okay, so these are the things that I'm hoping that you are interested in. I will endeavour in order to try to meet those. So I'll try to make sure that the material is relevant to your interests and that it's useful for you. I've sat through quite a lot of bad lectures in my time, and I'll endeavour that this isn't one of those really boring options for you. You do always learn a lot from bad lecturers, but it's usually how not to perform class. Okay. So moving on, lab assignments and expectations. So there is a virtual computing laboratory that is available to you. So I think it's Citrix Access, and it's available through GGS, so Geography and Geoinformation Sciences. And you can go and access it. But really one of the beautiful things about this course is the fact that we're using open source statistical software. Okay, so it's the R language, that's the syntax that's being used, and then we have a graphical user interface, a GUI called RStudio. It sits on top of that and provides you with an interface that you're able to click and understand and write code in. So it's very easy. It's free. It means we can all download a copy of that software onto our machine. You can have it on as many machines as you want, which is great because you know, I've learned before on things like Minitab. I think I started on in the 2005 onwards when I was learning statistics, and then progressed on to a wide range of other software. And it's always, the night before you have to hand in an assignment that the license expires, and then you don't have a license for the software that you need. And it's kind of easier these days because you can buy it online. But even so, I've just basically progressed to entirely open source software because these days it's just so good. And you just don't encounter these annoying issues that you get with the proprietary software. Okay, so you don't need to pay for a license, and then you just generally don't have the whole hiccup around installing it on multiple machines and all of that palaver. So I think that this is a really strong point of this class. I'm going to show you how you can just download RStudio and the R language and have that on any of the machines that you want to do your coursework on. Okay. So as I mentioned before, we'll be using the R statistical language, so you can read up on the wiki about R, the programming language, just here, or you can read up about RStudio as well on the RStudio website. So we'll get to that later in the actual practicals. Obviously, it's good for you to take a look at that now. You can click on these links. I'll provide the PDFs for you, but I'll be going over this in more detail when we actually try to install it on our machines. Okay. I'm sure for many of you, if you're not familiar with this type of software, this is incredibly apprehensive. And really, I just wanted to assure you that you don't need to be scared about this content. You will have all of those basic working blocks for you to be able to put these tools together in order to fully engage with this class. And if you need guidance, then you can always reach out to myself or to Amy in order to get input on the problems that you're having. But I think the important point for me to emphasize is that if you do want our help, there is an expectation that you've tried to solve the problem yourself, and that you're not reaching out to us, like 2 hours before the first coursework is due. Okay, so we do expect you to engage with the materials, be proactive, reach out to us if you're having any problems. It may take us, a bit of time to respond at times. 24 to 48 hours is you should expect a response within that time. But do make sure that you put effort in the first couple of weeks, because it's not easy. You can't just coast the first couple of weeks and expect to join the coursework on week 3 or 4. Otherwise, you just won't know what's going on, unfortunately. So I need you please to commit in the first couple of weeks, and I'll be there to help with any road bumps that you might hit. So the lab assignments will be based on the lecture material, and they'll be available via Blackboard. Okay, so at some point you'll be able to go onto Blackboard, into the lab assignments, and see what the first lab assignment is requiring of you. I think, if I'm correct, this week we have just the installation of the R software. And then I think the first assignment will be set next week, but I generally will just upload that first assignment probably fairly quickly in case any of you do want to kind of shoot ahead and have a look at what's there. So do expect to see that somewhere on Blackboard, I hope. The lab assignments will generally be set on a Thursday, okay, and then they'll be due the following Thursday. So today is Sunday. Today is Sunday the 22nd of August, so I guess the first lecture you would be expecting to kind of go live on Thursday this week, which is going to be, if I just have a look in here, the 26th of August. So I'm a bit premature with this, but I just wanted to make sure that you had all of the materials early on so that you've got plenty of time to kind of work through the content that's there. Okay, so I'll try to make sure that things are going up ahead of time, but expect content to be there by Thursday, and then the assignment set on Thursday, and then it due the next Thursday. Okay. So late lab assignments will be penalised 20% for each day late. So you can look at this in the course syllabus. This is fairly standard. I just want you guys to make sure that you actually submit the material on the day that it's due. Okay, so just aim for that. If there's any hiccups, reach out to Amy or I, but you do need to make sure that you are regularly hitting those lab assignment submissions, because if you don't, then there's no easy way to pass the course if you're basically skipping those lab assignments and not performing in them. Grading, as you'll see here, there's about 500 points up for grabs. So we have the 10 lab assessments, and there's 200 points for those, and that accounts for 25% of the final grade. The midterm exam, it's 100 points, that's 25%. Midterm 2, 100 points, again 25%, and the final exam is 100 points, and that's 25%, okay? So you need to make sure that you're doing the weekly work. I'll explain shortly about where the midterms fit in the final exam. So that midterm 1 essentially is going to cover the first third of the course, which essentially is the descriptive statistics and probability part. So this is kind of the introductory stuff. It's relatively easy, it's not too hard, but then we kind of progress in the middle chunk onto sampling and inferential tests, which are going to be kind of a step up from where we were in the first third, and that second third is going to be evaluated during the midterm exam, the number 2 one, so the second one. And then essentially what we're going to do in the final exam is we're going to have a semi-comprehensive test, and that's going to cover the final third of the course, but also it's going to recap on some of those other topics that we've covered all the way through the semester, okay? So you need to make sure that you are on top of when these are going to be, and basically there will be given weeks in the syllabus when we expect these to take place, and I will put up an online exam for you guys basically to take. So it will be multiple choice, but it's not easy, and you do need to prepare, and if you don't prepare and you just randomly select, you will fail essentially, because this is a statistics class. So I think with something like 5 to 6 options per question, you've got a 20-25% chance of getting each one of those right, and the pass mark is something like 50 or 60%. So you're not going to be able to just randomly select the questions and basically pass the class. You need to be working hard, and I want you to be aiming for A's and B's. So we need to have your scores up at 80-90%. Okay. There will be ungraded quizzes during the semester. Yes, there will. And the good thing about the ungraded quizzes is it gives you an idea of kind of how I'm going to perform the test and what you need to basically revise in order for those exam questions. Okay, so if you do all the assignments and then you do the actual ungraded tests that I'm going to set you, then the actual exams should kind of take care of themselves. Of course, you need to put effort in, you need to revise, you need to make sure you know that content. But if you do all of those things, you'll have all of the basics in order for you to go into the exams and hopefully perform to your very best. Look at the course syllabus. So in the course syllabus at the end, there's that weekly table which basically gives you what we're going to do each week. It's going to say what the assignment is, it's going to say what reading you need to do, and it's going to give you a very clear structure for how we're going to pass through the material this term, okay? So COVID is so annoying, and hopefully we're going to be over this shortly, but I don't have any immediate set office hours, so just reach out to me via email and I'll try my best to respond to you quickly. Monday to Thursday, I'm very efficient. Friday to Sunday, I'm still pretty good actually, but maybe less efficient at the weekend than in the day. So just be aware when you send this. I mean, to be honest, given Thursday is going to be the day when everything's going to be due, I usually get a logjam of emails from you guys around Wednesday, Thursday with people trying to do the assignment. If you email me on a Friday after the assignment's due and then you're saying that you're having problems, that's an issue, because you've already kind of lost 20% of your mark by not submitting on time, and then you're asking me to respond, and that can take a bit of time depending on what's going on. And I'll endeavour to get you through that, but really you need to make sure that you're reaching out to me kind of on a Wednesday or a Tuesday to make sure that I can respond to you fully in time, so that then you can get on and submit the work without you losing marks. And I really don't want you to do that, okay? I really want you to perform well on this course. So try to make the questions that you have for me succinct and easy to respond to. So don't write me like a 4-page essay which I can't easily respond to. Just say, hey Ed, I'm stuck on XYZ, what do I do? And I will just message you back being, try this. Often it's like minor are problems where maybe you're getting an error message that you're not expecting, and it's because you've got a comma in the wrong place or something like this, some syntax error, and I can generally either look at it and tell you what's wrong, or I can Google it and find out what's probably wrong. But you also need to be able to kind of do that Googling process for yourself. So when you hit a roadblock, working out how to solve errors when you get an error message is going to be really important. And I think what I need to emphasize is that you really need to look at the syntax very, very carefully. And we'll do this in the lab. But it needs to be 100% correct in order for you to get the right answer that you would be expecting out of R. And if you get something wrong in the syntax, whether that's a curly bracket or a square bracket in the wrong place, or a comma in the wrong place, or you're referring to the wrong variable, then you're going to get a problem. Okay, so you need to work out how to fix those issues. Academic integrity. So I'm assuming that you guys are familiar with the George Mason Honor Code. Okay, so all the work that's submitted must be your own. I don't think this is new. I don't think this is new content to you. I'm assuming you know all of this already. When you are using the work or ideas of other people, including fellow students, make sure that you have an accurate citation. Academics hate it when other people use ideas from their work specifically and then don't cite where that idea came from. I mean, that's really annoying. I mean, how much of that is just the free flow of ideas? Well, yeah, I don't really like it, and something like this has happened to me recently, and I felt like someone took an idea of mine for which I published on, but then didn't cite the original work, and that frustrated me. But hey ho, there you go. So make sure that you are actually following best academic practice. So you need to make sure that you're citing those sources that you are getting information from. I think it's somewhat easier in this course because I'm not asking you to actually submit essays. So I think that this problem should somewhat sort itself out. Right. So if you're uncertain about the ground rules for an assignment, ask for clarification. Yeah, that's a fairly sensible rule, so don't hesitate to reach out if there are any issues. But generally, for this course, you will get an assignment and it's all going to be based on what you did in the laboratory session. So you just have to think, the question has changed, but Ed's already given me the method for how I approach this type of question, okay? So you just need to look at how you reinterpret that particular question and apply it to the new question that you're going to be given, okay? So I don't think there's any examples where I give you questions which we haven't already covered within the course or the laboratory session. So it should all be application from the existing knowledge that you have. So often if you can't do the assignment, maybe it's because you didn't put enough effort into understanding all of the content that we did within the laboratory session. So maybe you just need to go back and understand that, okay? Vigorous discussion and debate are encouraged, of course, with the expectation that all aspects of the class will be conducted with civility and respect for differing ideas, perspective, and traditions. Yeah, okay, so this is fairly standard stuff. You know, our differences make us stronger. Just be nice to one another. I guess there's somewhat of a difference from the fact that we're not all in the same classroom, unfortunately, for this, but hopefully this will be the last semester where this takes place remotely. Students have to email me and other university members from their Mason Live email account, and you must use that email account to receive important updates from the university. Okay, so I'm assuming that you are all using that fairly regularly now, and I've looked on Blackboard today, and it looks like most of you have been signing in and kind of looking at things that are going to take place for this course. So I think most of you are on top of it, but please just don't email me from a Google Mail or some other non-GMU email account, please, because there's a variety of reasons. Number one, cybersecurity, okay? So the university only wants you to contact faculty and other university staff from a Mason Live email account, okay? Diversity, so GMU promotes learning and living environment for outstanding growth and productivity among its students, faculty and staff. Through its curriculum, programs, policies, procedures, services and resources, Mason strives to maintain a quality environment for work, study and personal growth. You probably know this already, this is nothing new, so GMU is committed to monitoring and self-assessing diversity, and your feedback is highly valued in this regard, okay? Disabilities, if you're a student and you've got a disability and you need academic accommodations, I'm sure you're already fully aware of this, but you should reach out to the Office of Disability Services. And then if you need an academic accommodation, then they should reach out to me, or you reach out to me with this, so that I'm aware of what those accommodations are. And it's dead easy for me to accommodate you, whatever those requirements are. Just make sure that it's coordinated through the ODS, okay? Students as scholars, GMU has this initiative that gives students the opportunity to conduct undergraduate research, and you can potentially do that with me on this material if you are interested. So if you're interested in certain research topics or just learning more about the program, go to OSCAR. Stop by the Office of Student Scholarship, Creative Activities and Research to learn about all of the different programs that are available to GM students. GM resources. You have the Writing Centre here, so I'm pretty sure that that's where I think you can get advice on writing, I presume. You have the university libraries, so I've got the link there for you if you need to ask librarians about anything. I don't think that you'll need the Writing Centre that much within this course, because I don't think you're going to be writing prose. So really you're going to be more on the kind of computer programming side, and actually there's already a lot of materials that I've kind of shared with you, so you'll get the code from the laboratory sessions, you'll get the YouTube videos that I'll share, and then there's already a whole ton of coding videos and materials online that you can just easily access, and I provide you with some links for that, but you can also use whatever you want to do, whatever you prefer online, or you can look for the resources if you want. Just reach out to me and ask. Counselling and psychological services, if you're having a particular issue that may be affecting your studies, or just a particular issue that's concerning you and you need to speak to a counsellor, then you can reach out to caps.gmu.edu. And then also I've placed down the university catalogue and the university policies links just here respectively, in case you need to find some information for either of these. So what's the ideal outcome? I take pride in my teaching. I want you guys to have fun doing this course. I want you to say that Professor Orton was a great teacher, that he was fun to work with, and the class was very rewarding, and then I was able to develop important skills that helped me gain a better job when I leave GMU. Okay, so this is kind of what I want you to be able to say about me when we finish this course. I'd also like you to be able to say that I was successful at instructing you, I responded efficiently to emails, and that the course material was relatively fun to learn. I mean, I know it's going to be challenging in places, but I hope that it's reasonably interesting for you guys. Okay, and I hope that you would also recommend this class and myself to other people in the future. So enough of that. Just to finalise, this is a Mason Impact course. So what does that mean? This means that there's a Provost initiative that prepares students to tackle really important global challenges that we face. And this is a course which basically contributes to that. So if you look at the global challenges, I can never remember what they are off the top of my head, but it's usually things like sustainable development, for example. And as a consequence, the tools that you're going to learn here are, the basic scientific tools that you need to be able to do quantitative empirical research, which is going to be fundamental to how we develop evidence-based strategies for tackling many of these global challenges, particularly, for example, sustainable development. So, but this is good. There's actually funding available within this course as a result of it being a Mason Impact course, and you can go off and do projects and things like this affiliated with it. So if you're interested in that, then you can look at masonimpact.gmu.edu, and if you're interested in trying to take up any of those resources, you can reach out to me and we can try and navigate that together. Great, it looks like we are done for this lecture today, so I'm going to thank you for your time. Thank you for attending this first lecture, and I'm going to follow up very shortly with another lecture, which is basically going to be the very first kind of content that you're going to receive for GGS 300. Again, it's quite kind of high level, and it provides you with the basic background that you need to succeed in this class. But hopefully now we've done most of the administrative stuff, now that we've got the syllabus out of the way and the course policies. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll look forward to seeing you at the next video. See you later. Goodbye.